Hello, guys. So today I wanted to discuss something that recently occurred to me or happened to me to kind of document it and perhaps help others that are beginning to go through this as far as what to expect from like an anecdotal type, situation on as far as what's happened to me. Basically, just to kind of give a quick rundown of what happened to me. In December 4th, 6 months ago, about my stomach exploded. It actually had, I believe, like a 7 centimeter tear in the bottom, um, ruptured, so everything, all the contents of my stomach spilled out, which resulted in septic shock. And that's going to be the topic of my discussion today: is septic shock recovery. Because man, I've been through some things, and septic shock recovery is like a whole new football game, as far as how much goes into recovery from it, the different effects I've felt from it, and still 6 months out, the different things that I'm still feeling from it. Uh, there's different levels of sepsis, and I guess septic shock is the top level of it. And I have to praise God for still being alive. It was quite a dicey situation for a while, with everything spilling out into my stomach. Um, I did spend time in ICU, which has a whole host of other problems that can occur. I guess there's a syndrome that can be caused from being in ICU. Um, just the traumatic experience alone of that somehow can affect people mentally and physically. Not to mention, attach the septic shock symptoms onto that. Um, I've had, just to kind of discuss what kind of symptoms I've had through this septic shock recovery. Um, in the beginning, extremely weak, extremely tired, extremely weak. I was pretty much bedridden for 30 days while in the hospital. And, I believe I suffered, or I did suffer, rhabdomyolysis, which is the breakdown of muscle fibers in the body, um, that are then excreted through your kidneys, which I required dialysis while in the hospital. So that was one part of recovery, of losing so much muscle mass. Not to mention spending so much time in bed. There was a huge loss of muscle mass. I think somebody told me you lose 3% of your muscle mass per day, that you're in a hospital bed or just laying, sedentary. So you couple that, when you take 3% and multiply it by 30 days, that's a lot of muscle loss, and then the rhabdomyolysis. So a big part of recovery was learning to basically, or not learning to, I mean, I was able to walk, but re-strengthening muscles. It was very sore, hard to walk at first, because I had no muscle supportive joints and different things. So it was very slow going, getting moving again. And it did take me months, I believe, about, um, you know, it started with just being able to go to the bathroom and being able to walk to the bathroom on my own, and then develop, and stand in the shower took a little while, a few weeks to be able to stand in the shower on my own. And then I remember long trips, any kind of long trips involved a wheelchair for about 4 months. It was about 4 months before I was actually able to walk, like perhaps around a store or something on my own, without the need of a wheelchair on any kind of long trip. So physically, that was a big part of recovery, was that, a lot of sleeping, a lot of fatigue, a lot of tiredness. I still have the tiredness. Still, this is 6 months out, and I'm still dealing with tiredness. I'm not, not to say I was a super energetic person before, and I've always been a napper, but I still feel more of a fatigue, I think, than I did going into pre-septic shock. Um, Another big, huge thing that I have noticed is hair loss in like massive quantities. I did have some hair loss prior to making this video, prior to the septic shock, but that had recovered, and that was in the recovery mode where I wasn't losing hair like I was before. So it's unrelated to that. And I did a little research, and yes, hair loss is a part of septic shock. Um, I have lost tons, and I'm still losing it. I'm afraid I might lose all of my hair. And you know that's not far off at this point. the hair you see in this video is like just the strands that are left. Um, and so I've kind of had to resolve myself to perhaps being without hair for a while. I have been taking biotin, usually trying to take it twice a day, at least once a day, trying to take it twice a day. Biotin is great for hair. I'm still seeing clumps in the shower. I'm still seeing clumps when I comb my hair out. There was points in the hospital, I remember, I had to go back a second time because of an infection I received during surgery while they were repairing my stomach. And I remember combing my hair out and just clumps coming out, and then later seeing like there was a couch area that I would try to sit on to move around and to sit up, and there was just this big hairball. It looked like a pet over there, just sitting there, of my own hair. Just disgusting how much hair loss. But it's bad. It's really bad. I don't even want to like detail it so much, but I think if you look at past videos, maybe you can tell. I mean, it's just stringy. There's nothing left here. It's just kind of hanging, and you know, generally I wear it back in a ponytail. I'm just hoping it pulls itself together somehow magically, a miracle from God, and regrows. So hair loss is a big thing I've had to contend with. Another huge thing I've had to contend with, it's ongoing, is um, I don't know how to describe what happened to me inside of the ICU. I hate to say things that might be inaccurate. I guess I can call them hallucinations or delirium at this point. I was on some heavy medications, as well as the stress and stuff of what happened to me. But I I believe people were trying to harm me in the ICU. And I feel that there's a lot of weird stuff going on inside of the ICU. So, and that's ongoing. Like it hasn't stopped. I haven't, if it was a hallucination, I haven't said, gosh, now I see it's all clear. I'm not exactly sure what has happened to me, but I have some kind of something from trauma, I guess, where I am having nightmares about different things. I am having sometimes where it's hard to realize if I'm, especially in the hospital, I would wake up and I would not realize I was in the hospital. I would think I had left the hospital, and it was very weird. I remember at one point calling my mom, thinking I was in like a Baskin Robbins down the street from her house, and the hospital I was in is like a ways away from where she's at. So I totally believed that I just woke up in this Baskin Robbins and was sitting at a table, when in reality I was in my hospital bed. So I had a lot of things that were, I would say, probably not based in reality, but there is just so much mental trauma I have experienced from this that there's a line between what might be real and what might not be. A lot of the things I think were definitely real, but then some of them weren't. So I don't know. But I do realize that there's a trauma that happens when people stay in the ICU, as well as people that have septic shock. And that's something to be aware of. That's something probably to discuss with your doctor. Just for mental health sake, I don't know how long it lasts. Like I said, I'm 6 months out. I'm still experiencing hair loss. I'm still experiencing this whatever it is, trauma type mental stuff. I'm still experiencing fatigue. But on the bright side of it, I am feeling like I am coming back to my regular life. I am able to walk pretty normally now. I'm building up stamina again, but I'm getting back to normal. I'm feeling pretty normal otherwise, physically, and being able to walk now. But I just want to say to people that there is hope. There is a lot of I think it's different for everybody, and what you might be experienced might be a lot different from what I experienced. If you're watching this video and you just recovered from septic shock, or you're in the early process, it's different for everybody. My best advice to somebody would be to start moving as quickly as possible. Start doing activities for yourself. Start trying to rebuild the muscle loss. Start trying to get active again. It may be a long road, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel with that road. And it's I just feel so grateful that I'm still here and that I have recovered to the point that I have, even though there is still some after effects. I'm very happy with my recovery from this. And gosh, I can't think of a more traumatic experience than to have gone through what I've gone through. Just, on the verge of death and then recovery after that. And there was a lot of, I guess wondering if I was going to survive and wondering if I would recover. So I guess this message is just kind of to give people an idea of what one person has gone through and to give them a little hope that, um, there is recovery after this and that I am feeling good. I am overall very happy. I'm not suffering from depression. I was suffering from depression. I'm not suffering from depression any longer like I was. And if anybody is recovering from septic shock and has any questions, I would be happy to answer them. From my perspective, I'd be happy to pray for you. God and Jesus Christ helped me immensely get through this. There was points of fear, there was points of wondering what might happen, and all of that I was able to rest on Jesus' shoulders and know that He would get me through. And He did. He didn't let me down. So I'd be very happy to pray for you or answer questions like I mentioned. Leave them below if you'd like. You can also look up my Instagram to send me questions if you'd like. Donations are always appreciated. Because of what's happened to me, I have a lot of expenses that I'm kind of really behind on right now. So what I've set up down below is a GoFundMe, so that you can offer support if the Holy Spirit leads you to do that. There's a Patreon account if you want to help continue to support my videos on an ongoing basis. You can, send, $5, $1, whatever per month that will help me continue to help others that by sharing my experiences with them. And then I'm going to also send a Venmo down below if you would like to just send a cash donation as well. All of these help me support my own needs and then also help me to support and help other people that reach out to me with questions. So that's basically it, guys. If any questions, like I said, hit me up. And until next time, guys, God bless.